You guys got me belching on camera. So what happens? I'm gonna have to hold this the whole time. My holder broke. I'm so sad. Good morning, Rylic.
Oh,
Give me 5 seconds.
ooh, fan it down.
I just belched on camera, okay?
Love it. I'll join you in a second.
Listen, the thing is, this morning I wanted some bubbles, right? So I'm having a soda and I am holding my phone. I'm literally holding my phone. I go to hook up my setup this morning, and the holder is like the swivel is broken. See how loose this is? So I have to hold this for the entire time.
Oh no. Ooh,
I don't know what happened. I'm stressed though, because now I have to find a way to rig this for future episodes.
I mean, gonna have to in motion thing. Bring them through the whole place.
I can't believe I burped. I'm so embarrassed. It's not my fault, it's the soda. But how are you this morning? Enough
I,
about how are you?
I am good. It's sunny. Can't do nothing outside, so I'm enjoying the rays from my little living room.
So you've been on your good behavior. You've been in the house.
Yeah, the last time, so I go out, I do walks and stuff to try and get some vitamin D. But like the last time I actually went out was the Juneteenth thing. So
Oh, okay. What did you do for Juneteenth?
in Leimert Park, there was like a big, um, it was just like an event, like a gathering, everybody kind of celebrating. So it was like it felt like a flea market combined with like live performances and
Okay,
stuff. It was just very black. You've been to Leimert before,
yeah,
I'm guessing.
of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. So it was very much that, just like amplified.
Okay.
Yeah.
So but you were wearing your mask and being responsible when you were out there,
Oh
correct?
yeah, definitely. But nobody else was over there, so I was like, all right, I gotta cut this short.
See, okay, so what are your thoughts on that? Because I mean, I have a few stories that I want you to comment on before we start talking about your new project. But
Okay.
what are your thoughts, your overall thoughts on people, I guess, politicizing this or being negligent with their mask wearing?
It's tough because like for us, for people in general, unless something like happens to you directly, you're not gonna believe it. And like
I
I
though I disagree.
really,
I do disagree. Well, only because I don't think that way.
but so I do. It took me a
But
long
there's got to be other people that think like me. I don't think I'm one of those girls where mom said the stove was hot. Don't touch it. I didn't touch. I didn't need to touch it to find
time. That
her.
was not me. My mom could tell you. If she said it was hot, I'm gonna be like, how hot? So
Okay. So you think that's the overall like discussion with this is that people do not, which I have seen. In fairness, I have seen that. Like people are now all of a sudden, a lot of people are taking to socials like, y'all, this is real. My auntie contracted, and it's like, what do you think the lockdown was for 4 months ago? Did you like the fact? And that also speaks to how I feel like we're never going to get out of this because we can't collectively come sit down. So it's like, is it going to take for everyone to lose or potentially lose someone in order for us to get for us as a nation, since we're like in last place? What do you think? What do you think it's going to take for us to get over this?
I literally do not know because I think even no matter how much is in front of us, and I really think there's like we're in a bubble out here in California. Like I think it's very different from a lot of the rest of the world, and there's still or part of the country, and there's still part of the country where no matter how much evidence you put in front of them, even if something happens to the person right next to them, they're
Mm-hmm.
still not going to want to take the due diligence to realize and say, okay, this is a real thing. I need to do something about it. They're still going to be like, oh no, I want to live in my blissfully ignorant life and I'm gonna keep doing these same things that I've been doing. And I think because such a large part of the population, the American population is like that, that it's gonna be hard to get over this. I don't know, but I don't see this resolving itself short of like 2020.
Okay. Okay, no, me either. Me either. And I always say, and I said this on Denver's podcast, earlier this month. I always say that for my mental health, I have to confine this to 2020. The thought of this going into 2021, like, I just need to stay sane by confining this experience to 2020. So let's move on. Have you heard about Twitter? How they're going to be playing with the subscription service? Have you heard about this?
I heard about it.
Okay.
Buy nothing.
So they might hold up. That's going to be my question. So they might, for those of you who don't know and who are on Twitter, Twitter is entertaining the thought, and I think that we're supposed to see things before this year is up, like with them doing like a soft rollout to a subscription service, because right now the company is hurting because there's been lack of ad revenue, of general ad revenue on the service. So my thing is, and I've had this conversation with a few friends. My thing is, I'm someone who lives on Twitter. Twitter is my favorite of all of the apps. And I don't know if it's just because I'm a news girl, but Twitter is, you know how they say like the world is our classroom? I feel like even though Twitter can be a bit of an echo chamber, I do firmly, that's what I attribute it to. Like it's a classroom for me. I follow, and it all depends on who you follow, right? Because some people are on Twitter for other reasons. Myself, I'm on there for thought-provoking conversation. Like I love, it's my newspaper. It's the hub that I go to, and I can see articles from the New York Post. I can see O Magazine. I can see The Cut, The Root, you know, Essence. It's like a newspaper to me. So with that being said, you already said you're not paying for anything. So if Twitter rolled out a subscription service, you would leave the platform because you are on Twitter, but you're saying that you would leave the platform. You chuck the deuces.
So, no, I don't know. It depends. The way I could see it working is if there was a subscription for certain things. So like right now, I think like videos are limited to like 2 minutes and 20 seconds or something like that. Maybe like you give us a trailer or a little peek of whatever it is, and we get the full thing if we pay for whatever it is. Sure, if you have a flat subscription that I'm paying every year and I get to watch like Twitter exclusive content or content that like I might have to pay or subscribe elsewhere to get, then I think it makes sense. But I'm not going to be paying for information and for like community. That part doesn't make sense to me when it's been free for so long.
I know, but listen, my thing is, personally, I would pay. I think I would pay. If I like, because you know what, I think a lot of people are saying that they would not pay for Twitter, like entertaining that thought. But I feel like if Twitter is part of your daily routine, you're going to pay. There's something about knowing your account is there, lying dormant, because you don't want to pay. But you, especially in times like this, right? I live alone. I depend on social media. Not all of my friends are accessible for FaceTime and Zoom calls because they have varying schedules and people are going through their own stuff. So I depend on my Twitter community most days to get me through. So I think I would pay. But I would hope that it would be something cute, right? Like maybe like a $3 a month type thing. About giving Jack Dorsey $15.99 a month for Twitter.
But then here's another question. Like, would you be paying that $3 for the same thing that you get today? Or are you expecting something more to come with that?
Either or, honestly, Rye. Either or. Either or. Because I need it. I really do need it. I love Twitter. I really, really do need it.
I love it too.
For content. I love the discourse that happens that I see on Twitter. Twitter has some of the most tear-inducing jokes that I have ever come across. Like I'm telling you, there are times I've been in here screaming at a meme that like most recently, they did the Bride of Chucky with the Crispies on her face. And the meme I saw was like, boy, what? Ain't nobody touched your damn car or something like that. And if you know the video, then you know what I'm referencing. And that I was in here crying. Like every time I saw it on my timeline, it brought me so much joy. So it's like little pockets of stuff like that for Twitter for me.
Yeah, I mean, I love that aspect of it, but I also feel like there's a lot of people that just aren't going to be able to pay the $3 and not willing to. And I think like a lot of the things that we enjoy and love just come from, random people that just decided to post something random. And I think like a lot of the joyful things, the things that we go to Twitter for, we don't know what we're going to see when we're scrolling. I think a lot of that is going to get like tapered off if this moved to a subscription platform. And then like also then you look at this thing where it's like it's a pay per performance thing where people that have money are going to be the ones that you're basically paying to put something in front of somebody. So the more money you have, the more chances of that. That's what I think would happen on the platform. So like now
We
you're pushing.
already with promoted tweets and even promoted Instagram posts. I find that sometimes people put the most asinine stuff. It's like, first of all, who is this person? Why are they on my timeline with this basic tweet? Oh, you actually paid to promote this tweet. Like I've come across content like that for sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, I agree. I think that it would have its pros and its cons. Ultimately, I don't see myself leaving the platform. I just hope that it's not an egregious price. I hope that Jack is what makes sense. Um, yeah. Scooter says it'll be like Tumblr with porn. Those girls got the axe. Yeah. Well, see, I don't have a freak Twitter, and I don't follow freak Twitters. So that's why different people use it for different things, you know? So, and the same with when I had Tumblr. But anyway, so let's move on. Let's talk about Rye. Let's get to know Rylic Zander.
Jeez.
So, Rylic, where are you from originally? Because I know that we met through Ryan Sides, our beloved Ryan Sides, and we did some adventure together. Where did we meet? We first met was that at the jumping park?
Yeah, it was.
That's where we first met, was at the trampoline park.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, that was a fun day. That was a really, really fun day.
I
Um,
was worn out after, girl. These legs were not doing anything. They were jello. But that was like, yeah, that was so fun.
Especially the dodgeball. The dodgeball was that
Like
was
you forget how out of shape you are until you're jumping like for hours straight. I was like, look, I gotta hit this bench for a little bit.
I had a blast. I wish that we could have shut it down for just us, but I really did have a blast. So that's where we met. And so where are you originally from?
Yeah, so I'm actually from LA, born and raised. I grew up in Inglewood until I was 14, and then I moved to Valencia, which is like the suburbs by Magic Mountain. So I
Okay.
spent half of my life where it was like predominantly black, and then I went somewhere where I was like all of a sudden a minority. So I think I spent like half of my life. I got the best of both worlds essentially, or like a clash of the worlds, I want to say.
Okay. And so what was the most like discerning experience? Like you say it was like one extreme to the next. Like what let you know that you wasn't in Inglewood no more? Like when you touched down at in Valencia, what was the first sign of, oh, I'm not in the wood anymore?
I mean, it's like all the architecture, like all the buildings were like everything was like brand new, clean. There were just, and I think the fact that there were so many white people everywhere, like that.
Mm,
So I think it took a long time before I saw a black person or until a black person moved on our street. Um,
mm-hmm.
Luckily, like the neighbors right next to us were African, but I think that was the biggest change in just the music they would listen to was different, the TV shows they were watching, like the little jokes and references were completely like,
Culturally, it was different.
yeah. So I was just like, oh, okay, like this is a whole new world.
So what got you started in music? Because I understand that this is your second. Okay, for those who do not know, Rye, as I call him, you're an artist. He's an artist. He sings, he raps, and he just released his second project titled Hold On, right? So walk me through your music journey. Like what got you started? What piqued your interest? Who are some of your influences? Tell
Yeah. So funny thing, it was way back in sixth grade, when I was still in Inglewood. The classes we were in were like the, I think like magnet classes or whatever honors. I forget what it was called at the time, probably honors. But like the teachers were hard on us and wouldn't let us like talk in class. So there were these two kids who would like battle, wanted to be rappers, and so they would start passing these notes through class of battles. Like somebody would do a couple lines, and then the next person would write some. And so
Oh, Kyle.
Yep. So it would literally make its way through, and we would just be laughing, giggling, and like finally I read some, and I was like, "Oh, this is funny. I want to try." And so I wrote down a couple lines, and then I saw people like laughing or like enjoying it, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." So then I ended up going home and like try to write something on my own. So I wrote something down and then brought it back prepared the next day, and like all the kids like loved it, and I was like, "Oh, like maybe there's something here."
Okay.
And so that just kind of like evolved into me trying out poetry when I was in high school. To one of my friends was doing like deaf poetry, and like I was doing poetry, but she would see some of the things I would write for.
Now, when you say deaf poetry, I hear spoken word. The east is where the sun rises. The west is where the sun sets. And I do this and do like that type of deaf poetry.
That's yeah, that's what she was doing. I
Okay.
wasn't doing that. Mine was kind of like a acapella version of rapping. It was just like a smooth song, you take the beat out. That was my version
Okay.
of poetry. And so I was like kind of writing my own version of popular songs. Um, and then she was like, "Oh, you should take it
Now,
seriously."
do you remember any of what you were doing? I want to hear it. Give me an example. No matter how cheesy or corny it might be by today's standards, let me hear it.
I can't even remember. It was probably so awful. It's just like left my brain. I think I just turned that part of my brain off. It's like a
Okay, fair. That's fair.
black box.
I'll let you slide this time.
Yeah, like, oh, they were bad. I remember one time my mom found a rap like that I had in the laundry room because it was like I was doing those notes, and she read it and she was like, "What is this?"
She turned into Nene. She said, "What is this, honey?"
Hello? Um, but yeah, that just kind of like evolved over the years. So I went from doing poetry to doing my own versions of songs. And then I told my dad, I was like, "Hey, like, I'm tired of these engineering classes. Like, I want to do music. So I'm coming back to LA." So I came back to LA, started doing music. I thought because I had talent, like, that was going to be it. And so I spent years and years, which, like, I'm glad I took that amount of time, but I spent years just like writing music, writing my own eventually. And I think what helped is I did a couple remixes and freestyles to like popular songs. Like I think Tinashe, when she had Two On, came on, and that actually went like viral on SoundCloud, and then it got pulled down by the label. So like all of my did, and so I was like, okay, like people are paying attention. Like maybe there's something here, and yeah, now I am 5, 6 years later, like making my own.
So, who are some of your who have been or continue to be some of your musical influences? Like who have you looked up to?
Uh, so it's so weird. Like I think there's interesting things to pull from everybody, but the one person I'm gonna say that like is probably obvious is Pharrell. I love everything
Ooh, okay now.
Pharrell does. Like if I could model a career after somebody, like it would probably be him. But there were so many things. Like I love Prince's weirdness. Like there was just like this creativity, and it didn't matter how like eccentric or how like bad some of the songs might be, he was gonna make something. Eventually, something golden was gonna come of it. So I pulled that from Prince. The Dream would do a bit of that too. There were things about Michael, like whenever I'm making music, I'm thinking of a story, and I see everything, and I'm thinking of like I'm recording it the same way I perform it. So like when I see a song, I would think of like Michael and like how could you turn this into a performance? How could you turn this into like a film or something like that? So I think I would pull things from him and like Missy Elliott. But as far as like the new guys, Travis, I can't say Kendrick's new anymore because he's been here for a while, hasn't even done anything like 3 years. But I would say probably Travis is probably the most recent person. The baby had a couple things I thought like it was cool for a little bit. Um, yeah.
Okay, so this new project, I've listened to it maybe about 3 times. I was listening to it. You heard me listening, of course, because I had you as a guest. I got to intro this episode with one of your original songs. So I really like Hold On. This is my first time visiting any of your music. And we talked on Twitter. We exchanged some DMs. I told you what my favorite tracks are. One of them including Science. I like Science. What are some of your favorite songs, and how? I noticed that some of your lyrics, your lyrics, because you write all of your music too,
Yeah,
correct?
definitely.
So I guess my question is going to be, um, how has your experience been navigating as a Black man under the LGBTQ umbrella? Because you have lyrics in there that in your music that reflect that, obviously, because you're speaking to your personal power. How has it been navigating the industry? Because in 2020, a lot of conversations and a lot of discourse around music and authenticity are at the forefront, but sometimes people don't always acknowledge and show that. So how has your experience been navigating this industry with being who you are, with having the lyrics that you have, with creating your own content? Because this is good. It's mixed well and stuff. Like you put out quality material.
Thank you.
And
um, Honestly, I didn't start off that way. So a lot of my older music was, referencing girls. I wouldn't really say anything about guys. It was just like I try to cover a lot of that and shield it because I was worried about how it might um, affect how far I go. And I think it was like my personal relationships with friends. Like one of our mutual friends, Scooter, he's a pretty much like face value person. He keeps it
oh
real.
yeah,
And being around him and a lot of my close friends just let me feel comfortable being myself. And once I was able to be comfortable around them and my family, I started realizing like, okay, this is who I am. It doesn't really matter. And so um, I did a show at the Whiskey A Go Go, and it was like I was like, okay, I'm gonna put a song in here that I did called Boys about boys, and I'm gonna see what happens. And the whole place literally erupted when I did that song. Like it was insane, and I was like, I'm actually getting this response for being me. Why don't I try being me a little bit more? And so that's just kind of what I did when I started going towards the new music. I was like, sure, like I'm still attracted to women. I still think they're, beautiful, but I can't like neglect that I love guys. So I have to talk about that. If not, I'm leaving like the best parts of me out.
right. And you know what I find within this Hollywood journey is
Mhm.
it's best, well, not even Hollywood, it goes beyond that. It's best to live in authenticity, because when you live in authenticity, that gives you agency over your own story. When you live in the shadows, that gives people permission to tell your story for you, so to speak. So it's best to get ahead of it, stand in your truth, speak truth to power, and do it. And that shows up in a lot of different ways. So do it in whichever way works best for you. But honesty is the best policy. Not saying that, and I want to preface this by saying that I'm not saying that not living in your truth is being dishonest to everyone, but it is certainly being dishonest to yourself. And you relinquish the power to control your own narrative and to tell your own story when you out here playing games.
Yeah, and it's like it's such a layer of anxiety that's removed when you're just yourself. Because when somebody says something, it's like,
And
yeah,
and what about it? I found that because when I moved out here, I was still living as a stealth trans woman, and going public, I had a lot of like, I didn't want to be Googleable at first. I didn't want people to be able to Google me and see that I'm trans. Like I had a lot of anxiety around that, understandably, because of like systems and you're applying for apartments or jobs, and there's still a lot of prejudice around trans people. So, but I'm glad that I did get ahead of that, because there are, like I said, there are people that are eager to tell your story for you. And if they beat you to the punch, that will forever be your narrative, no matter how you try to debunk it or reroute it. That will forever, or at least forever, have a dark cloud on who you be. You know what I'm saying?
and was it a gradual process, or was there something that propelled you that was like a light bulb that just said, you know what?
If I'm being honest, It really wasn't a gradual process. It was Caitlyn Jenner. That was a pivotal moment in my journey because, like I said, I moved out here and I was living stealth. No one knew my tea. I was especially like, I worked at a middle school, like a charter school in Woodland Hills. I did not know how that would be received. Not that, and even let me say this, even to this day, I'm just not the girl to wear like the trans rights t-shirt. Like that's not me. That might be someone else. And that's okay that that's not me. But it was a matter of navigating for safety purposes. And it was not pertinent to the job. Like, and there was a trans boy at this middle school. He was 8th grade, a white trans guy. And I was like, yes, look at everybody, you know, playing by the rules and being inclusive. But me as a professional in this environment, it was not pertinent to my job. All you needed to know was that I was Miss Shar, because I was like cool like that. Like I was Miss Shar. That's all you need to know. You need to know nothing about, you know what I'm saying? And so, but with Caitlyn Jenner, honestly, I was getting calls from like people that I knew in media to comment on it. You know, that was one of the biggest stories of 2015. And so in commenting on that, I had to just rip the Band-Aid off. And it was terrifying for me, but it was also liberating. And I never went back. I never went back. And in my journey, I've learned that not being transparent does provide safety in certain regards, but in a lot of ways, it can cause more harm than it does help. That's the nicest way I can put it.
Yeah, I totally get it. I think the one thing I was like keying in on is how you were so terrified, but you did it and you went through that door. And that was, if I actually am honest, that was one of the most defining moments for me. Before I was terrified to perform, terrified to show anybody any of my music except for what I had done on SoundCloud. Like for me to say, hey, this is me. I'm not doing remixes of other people's songs, things
Right.
like right at I think the start of 2018, I said I was gonna have a I said I was gonna have a theme for the year. And my theme, which instead of a resolution I do every year, my theme was no fear. So it meant if I was scared of something, run towards it. If it yeah, if it gave me that feeling, I was gonna do it. So everything I could think of that year, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And so the thing was, I was scared of performing. I was like, there's no way you can get me on the stage. Like, terrified. As soon as I performed, and I had a sold out show at the Whiskey with people cheering for me and wanting more shows. It clicked as soon as I was on that stage, like, this is the place for me. Had I not done this, I would never know experience any of this. I would never be putting out this EP or working on any of the visuals. It just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's its own kind of prison. It's its own prison when you like last week when I started, I soft launched Sundays with Shar last Sunday. So you're my first official like promoted guest because this was just something to soft launch. But I'm reading this fascinating novel by Britt Bennett titled The Vanishing Half, and it kind of talks about what like one of the characters, she is struggling. She's essentially suffering and living, like I said, in her own little personal prison, her own little personal hell, because she spent the majority of her life not walking in her truth. And no spoiler, but she passes as white. And so it deals with some of the conflicts of that, you know, like I just found that in this book, there's certain themes that I can relate to my transness. You know, it's certain things you just reapply them and think about them. So it's fascinating. I've been recommending it to everyone. So back to your album, the latest album, Hold On. It's available on every streaming service. It's also available for purchase. And so what was your favorite song to work on? And what is your favorite song on this album?
My favorite song to work on was not my favorite song for the album, and I'll tell you why. It started off, so the way this EP even came about was because I've been working on a visual album, double album for the past 2 years, year and a half almost.
Right, I forgot to mention this is a visual album, so you're getting your Beyonce on with your visual.
There is, yes, we're working on, so I could say it's a 16 episode show. There's a song of mine in every episode. They're about 10, 15 minutes episode.
Okay.
Um, so we've been working on this the whole time, and then Miss Rona comes right on through and halts everything. Can't get any sets. Not even if it screwed up all of like, because some actors are scared to, be around other people. Totally get that. Rightfully so. Even if we have all the precautions, have them there, some of the sets, no can go. No matter what you do, you can't get on. So I was just like, oh crap, well, I'm stuck. Like, what the heck am I gonna do? And honestly, I was like pissed off, depressed, going through all that. And so I was like, okay, well, I just need to start working on music. Then the George Floyd thing happened, and I was working on this. I was like I need to express it. I didn't want to echo something that everybody was saying online. I didn't want to be like, of course I was retweeting things, sharing info, but I was like, okay, how can I speak about this in a way that like is authentic to me? So I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna make a song about it. So I did the song Everybody, and it was like right away, like all the words started coming to me, and it was just like this crazy energy with it. And I was like, fuck, this song is so like, this is the most fun I've had in a while. And just creating that song really excited me, but it made me say, okay, maybe I'll give them something to hold on to for a little bit. Like, I'll give them the song just to hold on. And then I started writing other songs, and then kind of started creating an EP.
Okay.
There were songs.
By the way, hold on. I want everyone to hear. This is a little bit of Everybody.
Go for it.
Okay, so that was a bit of Everybody. That's the song for those just tuning in. That's the song that Rye was just speaking about in his last story, in your latest story. Okay, what else?
Oh, beautiful. Me just talking your ears off.
So Everybody happened as a result of everything that was going on. That's
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah. The song is pretty much like basically saying like, if they're not about it, we're gonna fuck up everybody. Like, I don't care who's in the. If you have a problem with change, like, you're getting fucked up in the process.
Oh, so it's giving very Black Parade by Beyonce.
Yeah, yeah.
Like lipo.
Mm-hmm. The lyrics that just came to me right off the bat, I remember it was like, it's a party when we run outside, a riot in their eyes, fuck them twice, police looking, I look back with Sandra's eyes. And then the song just came like.
I don't even think I caught that part.
Right in the beginning.
That part.
Right.
You know what? In all honesty, you ride the beat so smoothly, and then the beat is like a little like, like you saw me jigging in my chair just now. Like it's the beat is good. So I don't even think I caught that part. So repeat that again, so that could really sit in my spirit.
Yeah. So I'll slow it down. I said, it's a party when we run outside, a riot in our eyes. Fuck them twice, police looking, I look back with Sandra's eyes. I don't care about discomfort, let it burn in the air. Oh, you want to talk about what's fair? Yeah. Baby, pull up a chair. Yeah. Baby, throw up a flare. Niggas in distress. They tell us put our hands up while they put one in our chest. They tell us come in peace while taking pieces from my flesh. They tell us it's all equal, but they say it with their best.
Gotta ring the kiss and tell bell for that one. Okay, so Everybody is a favorite of mine, even more now. Because I listened, of course, but like I said, the beat is a little bit like, like I feel bad for popping ass, for throwing ass to everybody now.
I listen. The theme for the overall EP is feel it, throw it. Feel that shit, throw that shit. So
Everybody was your favorite song to work on, right? Mm-hmm. So what is your favorite song on the project?
My favorite song would have to be Science.
Science is what I used for the promo when I was promoting the show. So let's listen to a bit of that.
KT. Walking with my hands up. Cops say that's romantic.
This should be on Legendary on HBO Max.
My brother said that.
I hear someone remixing this. Like, I figured.
Being just what they don't like. No. Look at the end up by staring, I'll make you taste what you don't like. Like you never seen it, see.
I love this part. I love this part. Is this the hook?
Mm-hmm.
Science, like you never seen it, see it. Like this is science, like you never seen it. All before it's science.
So what's the theme of science? Let walk me through it. What inspired science? What is it?
So science started off as like, I was making all these fun songs about holding on, but I was like, okay, I kind of started this off talking about um, the like current events and what's going on right now. And I was like, okay, what am I feeling at this moment? So that was one of the songs where the words just came to me. It wasn't really writing anything down. I was just like, it just came to me. And I was like thinking, the song started off about it not being enough to like live your, I don't want to say live your life, but it started off as a song about not being enough to stay alive. Because walking with my hands up, cops say that's romantic. Tell me pick my feet up, but I don't feel like dancing. That's how it started. Then it started evolving. I think another line about being in the workplace not being enough. And then eventually I was like, oh, wait a minute. Why don't I just make this a song about how you don't feel like you're enough when, you know, based on people's standards of what they think about you. But who cares? I'm actually enough. Like what you're looking for is irrelevant because I'm just a normal person no matter what I'm trying to do. So
It's funny that you mentioned this because Iyanla Van Zant yesterday did a tweet that essentially said how it's not our responsibility to live up to people's expectations of what they've framed our experience to be, which is something that I always know. But yeah, I feel like that kind of speaks, like that's kind of in that wheelhouse,
mhm.
how we applaud exceptionalism, and we essentially expect it culturally in
Mhm.
order to really, I guess, cement your worth. You have to be exceptional. You can't be ordinary and black, which speaks to a larger issue, of course. But okay, I feel it. I see it.
Yeah. So like I think that's why I appreciated the song so much. It was just that's why it's called science. It's like it's science, it's biology. Like we're just people. Like I'm a guy, you're a girl. Like whatever you're looking at, it's nothing that's not natural. Everything when you look at me, no matter what I want in life, is natural for me because I'm just part of nature. It's just science. Like we are what we are. So
Hmm.
stop trying to make me fit into your expectation of me, essentially.
And your box,
Yeah.
and your
Hmm.
my experience. Okay, that's dope. So when, I mean, I know that you said Rona, we all know that, you know, mangly Rona, repugnant Rona swept through
Hmm.
and messed up a lot of things for a lot of us. So when can we expect, I don't even know if this is a fair question, but when can we expect the visual components to the album? And like I said, that's a fair question. So let me know.
Yeah. So let me like state it by saying this is the EP. I have a double visual album coming on the way. So these are just 7 songs. What I have coming is I keep trying to trim it down. I have about 24 songs coming, 12 on each one, and then you're getting visuals along with that. So the music is done.
Okay.
Half of this, I want to say about half of the season or a little bit more is done, but there's key scenes that are missing from the beginning. So whenever we can get those done, I'm looking at like, I'm saying October, fingers crossed. I would love, because we just have a couple more days of filming. It's so like, that's why I was so frustrated. We're right at the finish line.
Listen, I totally understand. I'm someone, just to swivel back to the beginning of our conversation, I'm someone who's been on her quote unquote best behavior. I've been in this house. I have not left. But things are starting to soft open up. And so the opportunity, you know, I'm a freelancer. So the opportunities are calling. But now it's like, oh, it's not from home. Like I have something to film on Monday and Tuesday. But I requested that I was the first person. Like Monday, uh, the time I'm required to be in this studio is 8 a.m. And they're going to have COVID safety precautions and things like that. But it's something about like where my mind is I don't want to be the 2 p.m. girl after y'all been filming all day and it's been breath and all different types of stuff in this area. Let me be the first And on Tuesday, I'm filming something else. Let me be the first. I want, as you all are twisting the key inside the studio, I'm going to be right behind you.
Just
I'm dead ass about this. I'm dead ass about this. I do not want to be the 3 p.m. girl. And I never have been, in fairness. I'm like that with appointments as well. If I'm getting my hair done, I'm your first appointment. If I'm getting my nails done, I'm your first appointment. I hate midday stuff. I hate it. I hate it. I want to get it over with in the morning. So, okay. So let's just switch gears. So we know that your album is out. Well, your EP. Are we calling this an EP or an album?
I'm gonna call it an EP. I try to make it fit into an EP. It's 7 songs. That's like I think the limit of an EP. So I'm gonna just call it that. I don't want to confuse people from the album.
Okay, so your EP Holds On is now available, like I mentioned, on every streaming service, and it's also available for purchase. I encourage you all to check it out. Like I said, it's easy listening. It's 7 songs, and it's not like they're like 12 minutes long. It's easy listening, and it's definitely music you can throw ass to. So definitely take a listen today. And like you said, you're aiming, fingers crossed, for October to finish the filming, and then of course it has to go through an editing process, and then we'll get it. Basically, we'll get the visual component when we get the visual component, because this is something that is out of everyone's control, essentially. Even though the soft open up, I think that we're on our way for another lockdown, Rylic.
Oh, it's already happening.
Yeah. I mean, I never tipped out though, but I feel like we're on our way. Like okay, let me ask you this. I mean, I don't want to make this whole thing about Rona, but I have to ask you.
What else we got going on, girl? Like, she's everywhere.
I have to ask you because I saw a story. I saw local news. This is happening in LA, where salons are now taking their services outdoor. And so my issue with this is, like, I saw, like, they had cameras at a salon. People were getting their hair cut. You can get your nails done, but it's all outdoors and under these tents. And so I was laughing at this because I'm like, could you imagine getting your hair cut or getting something done to your hair and it's a windy day or a very hot day? It's 112 degrees and you're outside, you know, trying to get faded up and the hair is sticking to your forehead as your barber's doing whatever. And then nails. I was really laughing at the nail one because I was imagining like wet nails or someone working on my nails and being harassed by a bee, because that or a June bug, one of those big beetles. You know, that's typically how it happens. Would you be willing to get a beauty service? Because beauty seems to be the only industry that's not really suffering in this, because we're just made by nature, especially in this city. Would you be willing to get a beauty service done outdoors? And this is like still full price. Like, this ain't no like gift, no discount, but like get some type of service, a pedicure, manicure, a haircut, hair dye. Would you be willing to do it outdoors?
We're still in summer. The fleas, not the fleas, the flies, the bugs, all of that are still out. You're not getting me out there with all that spray attracting into. There's no way.
Yeah. Like, people are literally setting up in parking lots. It's parking lots, it's tents. I'm like, how many extension cords does a business have to have in order to, like, how are you getting shampooed outdoors? Oh my gosh, you're right, Kristen, a wax. Could you imagine getting waxed outdoors?
Ain't no way.
And a bee harassing you?
Listen, I will try it myself and screw up 3 or 4 times because we'll be in this house for a while. I can cover it up. If I mess, I would rather try it myself, learn a couple times, than pay for that. And then it's like,
I've been doing that. I braided my own hair twice within the Rona. Yeah, this is a Shar job. I did this myself. It's not the best, but I get the job done. I'm fully confident in braiding my own hair now. Like, the parts in the back are a little sketchy, but this is something that I never thought that I'd be able to do pre-Rona. And I watched some YouTube tutorials and I tried it and it worked. And I'm probably gonna braid it again. I'm not.
same. I got a FaceTime haircut, and I learned how to do it myself. I'm not showing you the top. It's a civil war up there, but here I got it together. So
Okay. So in what ways have you been practicing self-care? I always ask all of my guests this because, and just across the board, and I will continue to ask them, because I'm someone who, like most people, my emotions have fluctuated throughout this entire process. And I'm always interested in knowing communally how you have been practicing self-care, how you have been managing to stay afloat, if you've been managing to stay afloat mentally throughout this. Like, in what ways are you taking care of yourself?
Um, so I had to sit. It's interesting because I focus on meditation, and not meditation in the way that you think, where you're just sitting there being quiet. I
Okay.
Meditation is being in your peaceful place, your happy place. It's so I think about the things, whether it's something nostalgic, whatever it might be, what are those things that give me like happiness in its purest form? So if it's something as simple as watching cartoons, I'm gonna start part of my day off with that. I make sure that I just have balance within my day and that I'm doing whatever I can within my limits. Like if something's out of my control, I've learned to just let it go. I do all I can for the day. That way, like I can say, okay, at least I did what I could. And if I'm feeling tired and I'm not feeling up for it, then on that day I'm not feeling up for it. But I just try to like my version of self-care has been doing the things that I enjoy doing with myself, those little small things, and like doing a little bit of it every day. So I think that kind of paired with it's kind of forced me because it's just me and my dog here. Like it's just me talking to my dog.
Oh,
So
at least you have a little pet. I'm in this thing solo. I don't even have a pet.
honest, I mean, yeah, that's
But
what
I was raised with animals, so I understand the connection. Like a pet can really dictate your day. You know, a pet can lift your spirits. At least in my experience, I was raised with two tiny dogs. I also had a feline, and they were just sources of so much comfort for me. So much comfort for me.
Yeah, and not even like a good thing is that my dog's a good reminder if I've just been sitting too long doing something. So if I'm like editing and just spending hours staring at the laptop, eventually she comes over and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not really giving you attention. Okay, I'll close this for a bit, like go play in the living room or something. So it gives me a chance to like take breaks, reset, and
What
just
what what breed of dog do you have? And can she or he make a guest appearance? James is saying reveal the dog.
and I mean her hair, she looks like a mop right now. Coda, come here.
Listen, we're all experiencing COVID. Everybody wants to see the dog.
All right. Well, this is her.
Oh my. What's her name?
Her name is Dakota.
Dakota. Hi, Dakota.
She knows what FaceTime with a camera, all that is. So she's definitely aware that you're talking to her.
Oh my. See, look at my reaction now. You know, pets just bring me so much joy. She just has such the cutest face. Hi,
She,
Dakota.
she is great, a handful, but great. Scooter or some of my friends will tell you like she's psycho if she doesn't know you. Like once she sniffs you for a little bit, she's great. But she's one of those like, hello. As soon as somebody comes in the door,
You
going.
don't know Psycho until you've met James's dog. James, who commented and said, "Reveal the dog now." His dog, his family dog. She don't mean no harm, but Lord knows she's a little rough around the edges. But I stand her. So okay, I forgot my line of questioning. Okay, so that's how you. Those are the ways in which you've been practicing self care. Now, do you feel also this pressure to be productive? Because you know that's been a push. Look, Dakota has me tearing up. I'm not even joking. So that's been a discussion that we've seen online, like this pressure, like you need to have a small business. You need to come out of this knowing another language. So do you feel the pressure to be productive throughout this, or are you giving yourself the grace, like you mentioned, to just kind of just take it day by day?
Yeah, I have to take it because that was what was leading to depression because my nature is like work, work, work. Like I am working, get stuff done, like sometimes not getting much sleep. And when everything closed, I was like, oh, I need to do something. I need to do something. But like, I can't do anything. Like that was the reality of it. So as much as I may want to film and as much as I've studied my lines and I'm ready to go, I can't do anything. I can't go out there and, get somebody to hit record with everybody. So it forced me to realize that like some things are just out of my control and I can only be so productive. I can only do what I can in that moment.
Yes, 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 yes. That's been something that's been almost painful for me too. to come to the realization of like, I think I knew that, but actually, you know, it's a difference in knowing something and then applying it, right? So it's like I knew that, I was cognizant of that, but actually applying that when I feel like I'm just like a sitting duck, that makes me uncomfortable because I do depend on work. Work is essentially, I often joke with my friends and say, that's all I have. That's all I have is work, you know? But it's a joke, but it really is. That's how it feels sometimes. And that's my fuel. Like I'm constantly chasing those pats on the back. Like I'm chasing like that's my drug. That is my drug of choice, is
Yeah.
being affirmed through work. I know that that sounds boring and it sounds psychotic, but it's my reality. So, definitely having to unlearn some of those things.
But
So, we got just about 10 minutes left. I want to get into, now let's dig into your personal life. So who you dating? Who you talking to?
I'm enjoying.
You got a girlfriend? How do you identify? Are you bisexual? Are you pansexual? What's the tea? Let us know the juice now.
I mean, I guess you could consider it pan. I think guys obviously have my attention, but I can tell you, like, even over the past like year or two, like I've met a girl that still gives me that butterfly feeling, and I'm still like attracted to them, very much like a guy. But I think it's guys. It could be a part of it could be, and I've asked myself this, if it's a curiosity thing. Not that I'm saying I'm just like in a phase with guys, but because I haven't achieved all those things, like, you know, long term with a guy, marriage, kids, whatever. I think there's some curiosity that's always tied to it. That's like, okay, what would this be like with a guy? What would this be like? And I think that holds the forefront of like my attention and where my focus is. So I think it's like, I don't know, I would say it's like an 80-20 situation right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to label that as and call it.
80 towards the guys, 20
Yeah.
towards the girls. Okay, okay. So are you dating anyone? What does your love life look like?
Um,
Are you on the apps? Because
just,
I ask you this because I'm thinking about getting
mhm,
on the apps. I swore off the apps. I have not been on the apps. So when I say the apps, that is a general term for dating apps.
mhm.
I have not been on the apps in years because of trauma and secondary trauma. Like I just cannot. Like it's my experience on the apps have not been a good one, a productive one. Um, or what are you doing? What are
Yeah.
you? Because
So
we're going on month 5 of quarantine. So what are you doing?
yeah, so like as far as the apps go, like I'm always on those because I look at it like a magazine. If I'm being completely honest, like I look at it, I like seeing cute faces, and I'm like a swipe one way or the other. But
Hold on.
sometimes I'm thinking,
Are you someone who reads, or are you just looking at pictures and swiping?
a combination of both. I think like it's obviously going to be the picture first, and then I'll read the caption.
First,
So, but I'll look and see what they're about, and like sometimes I'll look and be like, okay, it looks like not much is going on in their head, and I'll like look and see what they put in their bio, and that'll let me know if I was kind of right or wrong. But yeah, I don't know.
you do know. Keep talking.
But yeah, like right now, I'm just enjoying myself. Like
Okay.
there's,
And that seems like the safest route to go. But like I said, I am entertaining the thought of like getting on Hinge. I've sworn off Tinder years ago, but like exploring Hinge or some of these dating apps just to maybe see like my options, spark up a conversation. But I will not be meeting with anyone because I'm a girl who likes to be courted. You can't court on lockdown, and it's not about to be one of those things where we're going to each other's apartments and Netflix and chilling. Because I don't want that for me right now. I've been down that road, honey. I don't want that for me.
you.
I
Yeah.
want different experiences because honestly, like I said, that's a trigger. It reiterates being loved in the dark for me, right? With this fine, all we're doing is Netflix and chilling. But I realize that this is not a binary thought concept, and it's kind of like you got to do what works for you right now. But I also don't trust people because the way I see it is, if you're Netflix and chilling with me, you can Netflix and chill with anyone. Now I'm sitting up here with a tickle in my throat. You've given me Rona and maybe something else. Who knows? You know, it's a sticky world out there.
You like you legit do have to be cautious about that. Like, and I think that's one of the things that keeps me kind of at guard because I don't know. Like, I don't know who in your family is asymptomatic. Like, I could just be kicking it with you, but you could have went to go hang out with your sister and she hung out with somebody.
With and literally anyone. That's my thing. I come from the school of thought, if you do it anywhere, you'll do it everywhere. So if you're making exceptions for me, that means you're susceptible to making, that doesn't mean that you are making exceptions for others, but you're certainly susceptible to it.
Mhm.
And it becomes this chain effect because I don't know who they've been around. I don't know who you've been around. Like,
Yeah. And like Scooter said, that asthma, girl, I got asthma, so you're not.
Oh, okay. So you got the little pre-existing.
Mm-hmm. So ain't no way. But just circling back to like dating and the apps, I think it's important to be aware of what you're doing right now because it's so easy to get into a situation right now because you're immediately in that intimate space. Like whatever we're doing right now, we're not going vibing, going like places and experiencing the day-to-day things or the, you know, the adventurous stuff that we want to do. You're right here in our day-to-day life. And it's so easy to be like, okay, we're in the mix of it. Now we have this like thing going on. We didn't really get to see like what we're like in the full world. So I think I try to just be cautious and mindful of what I'm doing right now so I don't fall into like the wrong thing or something that was meant to be temporary.
Yeah. Ooh, woo. That's a whole other discussion. Um, because these expiration dates are real, but we only have about a minute left. So again, tell everyone where they can find you, talk about your project, and then we're out of here.
Awesome. So, Rylic Zander, you can pretty much Google that anywhere and you'll find videos, music, whatever it may be, but I'm on every streaming platform that's available. Shar just said, I just released my EP, Hold On. It's 7 songs. No matter what it's talking about, like you're gonna bop to it. So again, the concept for the album is feel that shit, throw that shit. So go out, check it out. You'll find something on it that you like, and
You
yeah.
really will. You really will. And that's not me just gassing. You see how my eye just hasn't stopped watering ever since the damn dog came on. Just gassing because we are friends and I've listened to it. But it really is a solid, concise body of work and I enjoy it. Congratulations again on the release. And thank you for being my first official guest on Sundays with Shar. And I hope you get some new follows. I hope you get some streams.
I hope I didn't scare your viewers away, girl.
Yes, I'm about to go fix this holder thing because I've been holding my phone this entire time. So I'm about to go play and wiggle with this to ensure that this does not happen next week for me. But I love you and thanks so much for joining me.
Love you too. Thanks so much.
Enjoy your Sunday.
Oh.
Bye, guys.